want to show one more example where we just use a probability tree to determine the answer to this question. So we're off to soccer. We want to be the goalkeeper, but being assigned to that position depends on who's coaching the practice that day. So we've got two coaches, Sam and Alex, and they give us the probability of being a goalkeeper for each of them. So we can see it's different. All right. And you might be wondering, like, wow, 0.5, 0.3, where's the other 0.2? So sit tight and let's see what happens. We know that also that Sam is coaching more often, about 6 out of every 10 games. So what's the probability that we're going to be goalkeeper? So let's kind of just paint a picture in our head. We're walking up to the pitch, and the first thing we notice is who's coaching. All right, so let's start there. So we can either have Coach Sam or we can have Coach Alex. And then once we know who the coach is, they're going to assign us to whether or not we're going to be goalkeeper, which I'll just write GK, or not goalkeeper. So the first thing we can start with is, well, what's the probability that Sam's going to be coaching that day? We're told that it's 6 out of every 10 games, a probability of 0.6. So I'm going to leave this as decimal. So the probability of Sam being coach is 0.6. So now we kind of have to appeal to the idea of complement. If Sam is coaching 0.6 or 60% of the time, then that would mean that Coach Alex is there 0.4 or coaching 40% of the time. So I'm going to have a 0.4 for Alex. And next I can go ahead and do my secondary branches. So with Coach Sam, the probability of being goalkeeper is 0.5. So if Sam is the coach, then the probability of being goalkeeper is going to be 0.5. Again, appealing to complements. If Sam's coaching, I've got a 50% chance of being goalkeeper, which means I also have a 50% chance of not being the goalkeeper. If Coach Alex is determining the positions, then I know that the probability of being goalkeeper is 0.3. So if the probability of being goalkeeper is 0.3, then I know the probability of not being goalkeeper is 0.7. All right, so how does this help us answer the question? Well, it's asking us what's the probability that I'm going to be goalkeeper today? So all I want to do is I want to see, well, what are all the ways that I can be goalkeeper? There's two. It can be the case that Sam is the coach and he assigns me to goalkeeper, or it could also be the case that Alex is the coach. I just realized these are gender neutral names, and they can assign me to goalkeeper. So, well, how do I figure out what these probabilities are? So let's recall that the secondary branch, this is your conditional probability, right? Given that Sam is the coach, we know that I have a 0.5 chance of being goalkeeper. So this is our conditional. And then what happens here is if we multiply these together, these are going to be our joint probabilities. So the probability of Sam and being selected goalkeeper is one such thing that can happen that can get me where I need to be. And that's merely the product of the two branches, the 0.6 from the Sam branch and the 0.5 from off the Sam into goalkeeper. So 0.6 times 0.5. And similarly here, I'll have the probability of Alex being coach and becoming goalkeeper. So the probability of Alex being coach is 0.4. And then the probability of the conditional probability of being goalkeeper once Alex is coach is 0.3. So what I want to do is I want to multiply these together. So this will give me 0.3, and then this will give me 0.12. And therefore, the probability of being goalkeeper is equal to 0.3 plus 0.12. So you just add them up. So let's break that down a little bit further, just real quick. I want us to think about it maybe in a more rudimentary way. I'm going to the soccer field. There's 4 things that can happen. Right? Sam can be coach and I can be goalkeeper. Sam could be coach and I could be something else, not the goalkeeper. Alex could be the coach and I could get to play goalkeeper, or Alex could be the coach and no to the goalkeeping. Right? So those are the only 4 things that can happen. And you're getting asked, what's the probability that you will be goalkeeper today? So I want us to kind of rewind back to our basic probability talk. What are our favorable outcomes? Our favorable outcomes are being goalkeeper. So these are the 2 ways that it can happen. And that's exactly what we computed here in these joint probabilities, right? So what's the probability that Sam is coach and I'm the goalkeeper? We saw that that was 0.3. What is the probability that Alex is coach and I'm the goalkeeper? That was 0.12. And so I add them together, and that's how I get the probability for goalkeeper.